surging crude oil prices. Crude oil is gaining nearly $3 US per barrel due to ongoing uncertainty with regards to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. European rapeseed and Malaysian palm oil are also higher to start the day. The Canadian dollar is down less than 1/10 of a US cent compared to Thursday's close. Clear skies and high temperatures in the low double digits Celsius will be seen throughout the prairies, except for parts of southern Alberta, which will see light rain and cooler temperatures. The November canola contract is up $5 per ton at $717.60, while the January contract is up $3.30 per ton at $720.50. In the U.S., corn and soybeans are down and wheat is up. The U.S. Department of Agriculture released mostly bullish world agricultural supply-demand estimates yesterday. The USDA reported that the average yield for the 2023-24 U.S. corn crop was projected to be 173 bushels per acre, 0.8 lower than the September estimate, for a production of 15.064 billion bushels. U.S. carryout was estimated to be 2.111 billion bushels, while world carryout was pegged for 312.4 million tons. Net export sales for 2023-24 U.S. corn totaled 910,000 tons for the week ended October 5th, down half from the previous week, with most going to Mexico. Sales of 87,400 tons of 2024-25 U.S. corn were also reported from Mexico. France Agrimaire said that the French corn harvest is now 50% complete compared to 27% last week. The December corn contract is down 3 U.S. cents per bushel at $4.93. The USDA cut the average yield estimate for 2023-24 U.S. soybeans by half a bushel per acre to 49.6, with production at 4.104 billion bushels. U.S. ending stocks were estimated at 220 million bushels, while world ending stocks were projected to be 115.6 million tons. 1.057 million tons of U.S. soybeans were sold for export during the week ended October 5th, up 31% from the previous week, with most going to China. 60,200 tons of soy meal were also sold, as well as 5,300 tons of soy oil for Canada. China's September soybean imports totaled 7.15 million tons, down 24% from last month and down 7% from last year. The November soybean contract is down 9 U.S. cents per bushel at $12.81. U.S. wheat ending stocks were estimated to be 670 million bushels for 2023-24, along with 258.1 million tons for world carryout. A marketing year high of 652,000 tons of U.S. wheat were sold for export during the week ended October 5th, while 200 tons of net sales reductions were reported for 2024-25 wheat. Canada exported 549,400 tons of wheat for the week ended October 8th, the second highest volume this year, including 92,200 tons of durum. The December Chicago wheat contract is up 12 U.S. cents per bushel at $5.83. The December Kansas City hard red wheat contract is up 5 U.S. cents per bushel at $6.80. The December Minneapolis spring wheat contract is up 6 U.S. cents per bushel at $7.30. That's a look at the ICE futures in U.S. markets for Friday, October 13th. In Winnipeg for MarketsFarm.com, I'm Adam Pilasciati.
A job well done starts with great equipment, and right now, you'll save big on that equipment at Butler. The end-of-year clearance is on now at Butler Farm Equipment with huge savings on mowers and specials on 100 horsepower plus tractors. Save now and give yourself a big pat on the back next spring. Butler Farm Equipment, decades of delivering great service in the Peace Country. To learn more about their brands, equipment, and the end-of-the-year clearance, see them on Facebook or at butlerfarmequipment.ca.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Good morning and welcome to the show. It's a very special edition of Moose Talks after a week off, as we only have one guest today. Lilia Hansen was elected to be the mayor of Fort St. John just about a year ago Sunday, and so we're here to talk a bit about the year that was and to get her take on some local issues affecting you. So, I'm very happy to say we're joined now by the mayor of Fort St. John, Lilia Hansen. Lilia, welcome to Moose Talks.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us for a whole half hour today, kind of about everything going on. Well, as I said, it's been a year since you were elected. You've had a year on the job. Just in general, tell me a bit about what the year's been like for you and even just the learning curve coming from being a counselor to kind of shifting over to being the mayor and the chair of council meetings and whatnot.
Definitely. The year has flown by. We look back to see what we've accomplished, what were our goals, what's yet to come ahead.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased. Council's working strongly together. It's a good cohesive group, and I think that's what's making my job a lot easier.
Yeah.
Being a councillor previously, came in by election in 2017. You do get an experience. We have acting mayor roles for 2 months each year where you get a small taste of it. I can definitely say, and I always knew that the past mayor was extremely busy. When you're actually in the mayor's seat, hands down, it takes the team at City Hall, the team of your fellow councillors to do the job that needs to be done. Definitely, they say never say you're over busy. I like the challenges, and that was one thing that brought me to run for mayor. Is I always like a new challenge, and I love my community, and I know the potential that's there. I think we hit it out of the ballpark, and we punch above our weight, hands down, with what we have for our size of our community, and I'm just pleased to be part of it.
Wonderful. Well, let's get right to some things you've been doing as mayor, especially lately. UCBM was
Yes.
a couple weeks ago, something like that. I thought, first of all, I'd love to hear your thoughts attending that. You've attended as a counselor before, correct?
Yeah.
How is it different for you now as the mayor of Fort St. John, as sort of the main public face of the city, as opposed to what it was like when you were a counselor attending with the mayor at the time, or whatever it happened to be?
It was a pleasure. We were at Union of BC Municipalities Conference down in Vancouver this year is where it was held. And I'd say one of the largest difference is you definitely a lot more background work, knowing what your briefing notes are, working with your council and your staff to make sure that your 15 minutes when you're face-to-face with those ministers, you're making the most out of it. I love having dialogues and conversations and hearing what other communities, what their concerns are about. So we also have policy and resolution sessions.
Yeah.
And that gives you a good pulse of what's going on through the rest of the province and what the similarities are. When, as mayor, you're the face and the voice for the community. So I think it's really important before each meeting, you get together with your fellow councillors that were there. Really pleased. We had a strong attendance by council there. And we also had 2 fellow councillors that had full confidence. They were looking after Fort St. John while we were away. But we need to make sure that we're speaking with one voice, and that is the role of the mayor.
Well, as part of your attendance at UCBM, as you mentioned, the resolutions you could put forward, there were 2 that Fort St. John had. Tell us a bit about them for people who don't know. And I think they both passed, and so that means the UCBM is going to start advocating for these things to happen with the provincial government, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of power in that voice because they represent municipalities across British Columbia. So we actually had 3 resolutions, 2 that went forward to the floor and passed. The third one, it was added in to a group resolution.
I see.
So the first one I can talk about are latecomer fees. And latecomer fees, it's something that should be something so simple to be changed and to be added for transparency. When somebody makes a purchase, whether it's of a home or a lot, there's often fees, well, not often, but there are times when there's fees on there that a new purchaser wouldn't be aware of. We have a lot of legacy gravel roads still to pave, and we've done a great job. Like the amount of paving we've done over the years is to be commended. When somebody has a property, though, on that street, and we come and pave, we have to have the majority of the property owners on that street approve it to start with. And then those costs are spread out over 20 years for those homeowners. And we want to make sure when somebody's buying a property, they know about that. Or if they're buying a lot that has been developed by a land developer, that developer has put in a significant financial investment to get services to that land. And whoever comes after, if it's within 20 years, then that new purchaser would pay that back to the developer.
I see.
But we want to make sure, the less surprises when you're buying something is a good thing, because we want to make sure when someone's making that financial investment, they know what is the true cost of that. And as well, and this was interesting, and this I learned while down at Union of BC Municipalities Conference, when it comes to archaeological sites, those are not registered directly on the land title.
Yeah.
So when somebody is doing a search, it doesn't show. And I'm going, well, that's crazy. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And they're saying they do that out of an abundance of safety, out of caution, because there are some people that will then do a search, find out where those archaeological sites are, and then go in and start digging where they shouldn't be.
I see. Okay.
And that has caused a problem. In the Lower Mainland, I believe it was around the Okanagan area, and there's a case going on right now where a family bought land and they were planning to farm on it, and they contacted BC Hydro to find out that no, they couldn't get services hooked up, and this is why. And now this family, they're horrified. They're like, for multiple reasons. For one, it's my understanding that they're First Nations, so they would never be disrespectful to the land.
Yeah.
I mean, they strongly believe in the land and not disturbing, what's buried there.
Yeah.
Like, it's right to their core. And then there's their financial investment. What about for their family? Like, they bought this land. Now, how do you sell it? How do you sell it to the next person if you can't develop on it?
So the idea was that resolution was, can the government make it, as you said, more transparent so that you can search the title and see, oh, I'm going to be paying these latecomer fees because of the paving, for example.
Yeah.
And how do we deal with this so that they know this is an archaeological kind of site?
Because most people, if they're buying a house or they're buying a property, their first stop is not always coming to City Hall to go, hey, can you tell me, what's there that I should know about? And even when it comes to land titles, as a purchaser, it's not an automatic, like if you're looking to purchase, that information, I was told, cannot just be simply disclosed. There's quite a few steps that the current landowner has to be involved in to disclose that information.
Okay. Let's talk community safety, because I think, this has been a big topic all year long. It kind of touches on everything, really, we're talking about today.
Agreed.
The perception, and I want to be careful how I say this, but the perception that there's more crime has certainly been something that's discussed widely on Facebook pages around the community. People have been talking about it a lot more. We've seen more homeless people in Fort St. John this year, and the homeless count suggested there is more than there was the last time it was. I just wanted your take on that perception that there is more crime, and how residents and businesses are expecting the city to address it when it's obviously a multi-jurisdictional problem that goes to the provincial government and even the federal government in some instances.
Agreed. Yeah, no, that was well explained. So this it touches on multiple things. It touches on healthcare, mental health, RCMP. All those pieces have to come together with our social programs on that. When it comes to so to address right away, when it comes to crime stats, we have frequent meetings with Inspector Tony Hansen from our local RCMP detachment, and we look at those trends. Things were a lot quieter. Like you can see a significant decrease during when we were dealing with COVID, and now that people are, that's hopefully we're moving past that, and people are more active and out there, and those numbers are coming up again. But the numbers are about level to where we were pre-COVID. But what it comes down to, it's people's perception. We can talk about stats all we want. It's how safe do people feel when they're in our community or walking around. We have a new downtown clinic that's being built. They're doing renovations. It's in our downtown core. So we have meetings with Northern Health. As a municipality, our role is for advocacy, and it's fighting for our residents. What are their priorities? What are their concerns? We have to be their voice. I've asked if we could have an ambassador program. Is this something that Northern Health can, as part of their capital project costs, can they put some money aside for ambassador program that would have more eyes in the downtown core, whether it's for added security. Let's say at the end of the evening, a business is having an issue. Can they call somebody who's close at hand, who can be there within moments to help with a situation, just to perhaps de-escalate? Or what about at the end of the night when somebody has to walk to their vehicle? A lot of the businesses on Main Street, they have parking on the backside, like for instance over towards the cultural center. I think it'd be great. I would love to have something that we can do to work together, where pick up the phone to say, hey, I'm closing up, I'm heading to my vehicle. Would you mind swinging around to the back parking lot to make sure I got into my vehicle okay? I mean, really, you just need that extra set of eyes. And then as well, what about cleanliness of the downtown area? For our businesses, they invest a lot of money. Like, that is their blood, sweat, and tears. And we want to make sure that our residents, so it's two-pronged. We have to think about the businesses, but our residents as well. Do they feel safe and confident when they're in our downtown area? Is it clean and inviting? So this is something that I would like to see, that I think it's doable. It's a doable pilot project we could ask for. Let's try it for 6 or 8 months. Let's try and help alleviate some of the concerns that businesses are having and the residences. Same with when it came down to open use of drugs in our parks and playgrounds. Municipalities were going, well, if we don't allow drinking or smoking in our parks and playgrounds, why is this being allowed? So about a week before the Union of BC Municipalities Conference, the provincial government did come out to say that they are re-looking at that. They're pivoting. They're going to come up with some new legislation. But that took a lot of municipalities going, we don't want to re-stigmatize people, but we have to think about all of our residents, all of their safety.
All right. Well, we're talking with the mayor of Fort St. John, Lilia Hansen. We'll be right back after this with more on Moose Talks.
Did you know the Fort St. John Work BC Centre provides funding for foreign credential evaluation for individuals that have studied outside Canada? Call 250-787-0024 or drop by the office at 9907 99th Avenue to see if you are eligible. All Work BC services are free.
This program is funded by the Government of Canada and the Province of British Columbia.
Every piece of land has a story. The Upshaw's right there is with a John Deere 1 Series tractor they call Penny.
When your project comes up, you have to just jump in and figure out what is it going to take.
From front loader to backhoe, the Upshaws have the tools to DIY all day long. Run with us on a 1 Series tractor and start telling your story today.
Visit us at Prairie Coast Equipment to get our limited time 0% financing off all John Deere 25 horsepower compact utility tractors. Some conditions apply. See your local Prairie Coast for more details today.
You know your vehicle works super hard for you. It's there for taking the kids to school and even for those off-road adventures. Make your own trails. So how about giving it a break with Moose FM's Dirtiest Vehicle Contest? To enter, just head over to moosefm.ca/win and try your luck at winning a $100 gift card for Rudy's Highway Truck and Car Wash. Don't worry, we'll be picking a new winner at the end of each month. Join in on Moose FM's Dirtiest Vehicle Contest, all thanks to our friends at Rudy's Highway Truck and Car Wash.
Whether you like to hit the ice together, watch movies, or make homemade pizzas, you and your family deserve a family fun night. Every month, you and your family can win a family fun night gift pack valued at $200 from the Fort St. John Home Hardware. All you have to do is head over to moosefm.ca and tell us why you and your family deserve to win. Family Fun Night is presented by the Fort St. John Home Hardware and 100.1 Moose FM. Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
All right, welcome back to the show. Today we're talking with the mayor of Fort St. John, Lilia Hansen. You just mentioned there was one thing you wanted to add to kind of what we were just talking about. I believe that's what you said.
Yeah, it's nothing like asking an elected official a question and they just kind of sidestep. And it's like, did you do that on purpose? Or one of our other resolutions we brought forward was...
at the UCBM conference we're talking about,
Thank you. And it has to do with an immigration program. In Fort St. John, what we're hearing from some of our businesses in the hospitality and service sector is they're losing a lot of workers to a neighboring community in Grand Prairie. In Grand Prairie, they have a pilot project, and it's called the Rural Advantage Program, and it helps immigrants obtain their permanent residency faster. They get more points. And so this was something that we wanted to bring forward as a possible suggestion. And there was interest. So I'm really glad, when you see the minister going, can we do this? Like when they turn to their staff, then you've really hit on something positive. And we made a suggestion to say, what about communities throughout British Columbia that have a population of 30,000 and under? How can we help distribute immigration throughout our province?
Yeah.
And help our businesses at the same time. My parents are from different countries, and I have to say, I would gladly welcome more immigration to our area.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful place to raise families, and even though sometimes there are challenges with languages, anyone who's spoken with my mother knows she still has quite the accent and quite the way of phrasing words. But this is a very welcoming community, and it's a great place to raise kids. We've had people that have come here through Northern Lights College for courses. They're from different countries, and then they stay and they get jobs, and before you know it, many of them have started businesses. Like they're entrepreneurs at heart and hardworking, and that has the respect of the Peace Region. The people in the north, we have a get-her-done attitude, and if you're willing to work, then we want you here.
All right. I want to talk a bit about ride sharing now, because again, this has also been in the news lots this year. There's current cab companies want to raise rates. That just came out recently. There's some new companies entering the market in terms of ride sharing, companies expanding. And this is all to sort of deal with what citizens have been saying for some time, is that it's hard to get a cab when everyone's looking for a cab at those kind of busy times. I just wanted your take on this. It seems like things are going to get better on paper with ride sharing perhaps coming here, more cabs being available. Is this all a step forward in the right direction, you think?
What we're hearing, residents, you don't mind paying for service if you get it and when you need it, and it has to be timely. And it also affects us when we have people that are visiting the community, or even our agency nurses, for instance. How do we get people to work, or how do we get, kids to where they have to go? Sometimes you need to catch a cab. I don't think the price of the cabs of the ride is an issue, and we definitely understand the cost, supply chain. Prices are going up, so I don't have an issue with the prices of the cabs going up. We need reliability, and we need the numbers, and that could also be about labor, not having enough employees in the area. So we're looking at trying to encourage alternate options so that we have enough transportation in the area. We do have some new cab companies, and I'm totally tickled that a smaller cab company, they reached out to transportation. They have another plate, and there's hurdles to go through that. They need to get the vehicle, they have to get inspected, they need to get the driver, but we're one step closer to that. When we reached out to Uber and some of these other companies to go, hey, we're just investigating, what would be involved, what are the steps? There is interest. We did meet with Uber when we were down in Vancouver. I can tell you, we were up at, before the sun and working till, way after the sun went down. But it's having those conversations to say, in the north, we do have a need. And sometimes when a large company, they're looking for markets, they might be more focus-centric to the Lower Mainland. And we're like, hey, there's people up here who need rides, so come check us out.
Do you see, bus transit as sort of maybe one of the prongs that could be? Because I know I believe there's a survey open right now that BC Transit is conducting in Fort St. John. Is that another sort of thing you might look at and say, maybe we can improve bus service as a way of alleviating some of the pressure and or expanding it even into the evening hours?
I'm glad you brought up about the survey. I think it's important that we hear from the residents, where do you need the service? And I cannot stress this enough. When we have an open house or we have surveys, pop-up events, come talk to us. It's the people who take that time that make the decisions. I mean, we listen to what the residents want, and the information we gather, that is what influences and marks our course for things. When it comes to our current bus service, definitely it's well used for getting our kids to school. In the mornings, it is packed. During the day, ridership, we have to make sure that we have the bus where we need it. We also have to make sure that we can afford it. Staff is looking at different options. How do we get the most bang for our buck out of our dollar?
Okay. We're running out of time, believe it or not. So
I can't believe it's half an hour. I was seriously going, OMG, what are we going to talk about?
So one last question I want to make sure I ask you about. It's on the topic of reconciliation. I know the treaty land sharing situation with the PRRD was unfortunate, and that seemed to cause a bit of a rift between the PRRD and local First Nations. And in my perception anyway, the city seemed quiet around the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. I just wanted your take on kind of the path forward and what you see, you and council and even the city, as what role you take in kind of reconciliation in general. And again, with kind of our local First Nations neighbors that we have so many interactions with.
Yeah, I think we could have a whole conversation, and we need another 30 minutes on this. I think what speaks more loudly is, what are your actions? Your actions show louder than words. So what are we doing? I'm really pleased with our collaborative working relationships with our area First Nation communities. And I have to give full kudos to staff on both sides. We have an urban reserve in Fort St. John, Notche Commons, and that's working with Doig River First Nations. We're working with other First Nations as well for MOUs, for service level agreements. And I think that their interest and willingness to have an urban reserve in our area, and how we've been able to advance this, and this will strengthen both communities. And we're individual, different governance, having those service level agreements. Nothing comes for free.
Yeah.
The roads still have to be plowed. There's still emergency services that are needed. They will be paying towards those as well. To me, when it comes to truth and reconciliation, it's having respectful dialogues. I would like to touch on, I don't know how much time I have, but when it comes to the Peace River Regional District, when it came to the land sharing network, there was information that could have been better shared, hands down. It was a voluntary program, and residents have questions. And I think that when you don't answer those questions in a timely manner, it gets concerns up, because if someone isn't saying something, there's always going, okay, why are you leaving that out? And in our area, so we were talking about before, different roles. So before we went on air, what did I do in my past life before wearing the mayor's hat? When I was with Ministry of Environment with Conservation Officer Service, I was a gal people would call if there was an LEH hunt on elk, to go, what area landowners is allowing hunting? So in the Peace Region, we do have a good connection. If somebody wants access to land, there's nothing like a face-to-face conversation or through a connection to say, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to harvest, whether it's berries or whether it's an animal. Who do you know that, you can connect me to? And it's those direct handoffs, those warm introductions that make a difference. So I think in our area, people felt, well, we're already doing it now. That said, really, it's communication. It was a voluntary program. We had Zion Strategies come talk to the rural directors, is where it started. And then the rural directors brought it forward to the whole board to say, hey, we want to let you know, this is a program that is being started in Saskatchewan, and they're looking to see how it would fit in the Peace Region. So it was more for information. There was a request from the regional district for a letter of support, and I believe the reason for that was, to acknowledge that we've heard about it. I think it's important as elected officials that we have to know a little bit of everything that's going on, so that when somebody comes up to us and they're like, can you tell me more about this? We can go, oh yeah, this is what I heard, and this is who I can connect you to. I'm really pleased to see we also had the powwow down in the district of Taylor, and that was really well attended. Doig River had a community World Cafe recently. We went out there with a fellow councillor and had a look at their new water treatment plant. And when we have those face-to-face discussions, we also find sometimes a common need when it comes to a water treatment plant operator. Is there more training that we need in the Peace region? And you start talking to one person, then you find out, well, you know what, maybe our neighboring communities also have that same need. So when we meet with, whether it's Northern Lights College, or we had a meeting this week with the University of Northern BC to say, what can we do to have this training here in the north? And that came out of, a simple cup of coffee and a drive out to one of our neighboring First Nation communities.
All right. Well, we're going to have to leave it there for today. But Mayor Hansen, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for being on Moose Talks, hopefully one of many times to come forward.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for your time.
All right. That's the Mayor of Fort St. John, Lilia Hansen, joining us on Moose Talks. We'll be right back to wrap things up right after this.
Do you have some good news you'd like to share with the community? We here at Moose FM want to share your positivity every weekday. Whether you're fundraising for the SPCA or saw someone doing a good deed in the community, we want to hear from you. Email us at reception@moosefm.ca and we'll share your good news right after the 7:30 a.m. news and on our Facebook pages. Good News is brought to you by Frontier Law.
Ernie's Sports Experts get you ready for winter. Gloves, toques, and mitts. Buy a kid's winter jacket, get kids' ski pants half price. Ernie's has a great selection of winter boots, like Sorel or Boggs. The best boots for kids of all ages. And when you spend $250 or more on regular priced outerwear, get a free $50 gift card. Spend $500, get a free $100 gift card. Only at Ernie's Sports Experts.
Sports Experts. Ernie's.
Feel good for life with Homesteader Health Foods. To show how much they appreciate the business of their loyal customers, Homesteader is having a Customer Appreciation Day on Tuesday, October 17th. Join Homesteader Health Foods as they celebrate with 20% off store-wide, plus food, draws, and Moose FM live on location from 10 to 2. Customer Appreciation Day, Tuesday, October 17th at Homesteader Health Foods, corner of 97th Ave and 100th Street.
Homesteader Health Foods. Feel good for life.
Hey Zumba fans, it's back! Join them every Saturday at Montmurray for a full fun hour between 5 and 6 p.m. and shrink everything away but your smile. Look them up on Facebook at Fort St. John Zumba Fitness. To join the class, please bring inside shoes. As your complete plumbing and heating service company, Pro North Heating offers professional service technicians for new commercial or residential installations, repairs, and service of plumbing and heating equipment such as boilers, furnaces, rooftops, humidifiers, HRVs, water pumps, water heaters, and more. For the do-it-yourselfer, check out Pro North Heating's parts store. Shop online or pick up in store on Old Fort Road. See the full inventory at pronorthheating.com. License numbers LGA 02000805 and LBP 0206667.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
At Peaceful Pages, not only will you find a large selection of Bibles, devotionals, and faith-based books, but they also carry a collection of Christian clothing, home decor, giftware, and jewelry. Peaceful Pages Christian Bookstore, open Tuesday to Saturday at 101 Avenue, Fort St. John.
Moose Country weather.
Today, you can expect a high of 12 degrees, mainly sunny skies. Now, later tonight, you can expect a few clouds with a low of 5. Tomorrow, high of 12 degrees, mix of sun and cloud. And on Sunday, high of 13 degrees and sunny.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
My thanks to Mayor Hansen for joining us today. If you'd like to hear this episode again, or if you'd like to hear an old episode of Moose Talks, you make sure to check out the energeticcity.ca podcast page. You'll find past podcast versions of the show there, along with episodes of Secrets of the North, Before the Peace, and Voices of the Peace, archived for your listening pleasure. They're all also available on the 100.1 Moose FM app, which is 100.1% free for you to download now in the Google app, or Google Play or Apple App Store. Take some time to listen to some excellently locally produced podcasts today, again, at energeticcity.ca/podcasts. Well, that's our show for today. Jordan Prentice and Trey Lopashinsky are the producers of Moose Talks. Adam Rayburn's behind the camera today. Thanks to him. I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.